audio-visual, physical, and real world. Many people on the targeted individual program report both audio and visual anomalies, often voices, images, or thoughts sent into their minds. The images appear in the mind's eye, both when the eyes are open and closed. The voices are heard inside the head, not through the ears. The thoughts present as your own thoughts, but often include things that seem odd, like words that aren't in your usual vocabulary. Victims report that these attacks seem to be trying to psychologically break them. The voices react to both the thoughts and the speech of the victim. In addition to voices, victims who suffer the audio effects also report hearing strange noises, tinnitus, and a debilitating pressure inside their head. These symptoms mirror what we've been told about Havana syndrome and match the capabilities of a weapon known as V2K, or the voice of God, as reported in Wired. The voices often pose as God, dead relatives, or other personas. They say things to humiliate the victim, make them paranoid, and control their behavior.
This is a very debilitating technology that injects voices into your head 24 hours a day, nonstop, very harassing, threatening, condescending, just constant harassment in the worst way.
I experience pretty much 24/7 V2K. I haven't had silence in around 7 years. There's nothing really said that is worth anything. It's all a lie. Anything that's ever said through V2K is not to be trusted. It's there to make my blood pressure rise, maybe even shorten my life. It was hard for me to talk to people because it was like talking to two people at once, or at least listening to two people. The chatter starts before I even wake up. That's how I wake up every morning. It forced me into suicide twice.
It's clear, concise communication. This is not something abstract because I'm a social worker. I work with individuals with disabilities, and I've worked in mental health for a number of years. It's not that. It doesn't manifest or present as that. It is individuals speaking to you, taking out your credit card, get that number, you having intimacy, and they're discussing your body parts or your husband or wife's body parts. So this is an active engagement that's happening through some sort of radio frequency.
I was getting these headaches, these directional sounds. It was the lyrics of the song being said out loud in like a robotic, like Alexa voice or something, and it scared me. I froze. It's always some kind of manipulative thing. They're projecting some kind of outcome they want, and their phrases revolve around that.
If you're a religious person, they might try to pretend to be an angel or a demon or something, and then try to convince you to do things that you might otherwise not do.
I was being sent visuals and images, sort of like an augmented reality overlay. There were visuals being sent to me while I was driving. There was a car accident. The vehicle that I was in rolled over.
It started out with V2K, so I started to get dizziness, tinnitus, started to hear family members and friends' voices in my head. Felt like a radio was being tuned in around different areas of my home. It really wanted me to lash out. It was almost like whispers, like they were talking about me. You're locked inside your own head. It wanted to isolate me as much as possible. I knew that it wasn't true, and so it really made me retreat into myself. I got, thank God, on the path of understanding little by little just exactly what this program is.
The voices are just, for me, they were very condescending, and they were very aggressive.
I receive voice-to-skull transmission as soon as I wake up from 6 o'clock in the morning, when I go to shower, when I eat, when I call my mom, when I go to meeting, when I go to sleep, when I watch a movie, 24/7. It's just a game playing with my mind. They use plenty of torture technique. The most famous one is actually just starting a sentence, so my brain finish the sentence and get distracted.
I hear voices. They are commenting what I am doing, what I am choosing, what I'm wearing, and my thoughts. they most of the time talk evil things to me. So they call me various names. For example, they call me fat or stupid and those kind of things. In the beginning, it was much worse because they were telling such things like, if you not do that and that, I will kill your family. So one time they tried to show in their conversations with each other that it would look like a panic attack, like that one person has a panic attack and the other one is acting like, oh, you're having a panic attack, and everything was in my head, you know what I mean? So they were making that like action, like a theater show.
The V2K is incredibly torturous. You can see that V2K is a patented technology. Like in your mind, you'll be thinking, I want to do something, I want to get a shower, or I want to go to the loo, for example, and they'll create an image back, sort of to ridicule. It's a lot of ridicule and humiliation, and it really does get you down. Lately, it's been non-stop asking for money. Will you owe us some money? You know, we're going to be shutting you down soon, and when we do, we always ask for a payment. They were increasing the torture, but really increasing it.
I'll wake up with full tinnitus blaring up. It's horrible.
Back in the day, it was called MK Ultra. I don't know what they call it now, but they started doing V2K stuff to me, and it was making me very paranoid and stuff like that. I didn't know what was going on.
Particularly in the voice-to-skull phenomenon, we get computer-generated voices, computer-generated answers, so it appears to be a human-to-human conversation in some ways, but after you read like a page of the dialogue, you realize the conversation is very awkward. If you had a difficult relationship with your father who has passed away, they'll use the voice of your father to use and harass against them.
Make the person feel as though they're going crazy. This is what the people behind this program were counting on. These victims, they develop a relationship with their voices, sort of like a Stockholm syndrome, and they actually defend, no, my V2K told me this. How are you going to trust the same entity that is torturing you?
Next, there's the physical attacks. Victims who suffer the physical attacks report haptic feedback on their body, and a combination of taps, spikes, shocks, and severe pain, as well as difficulty breathing and muscle spasms that target them from the moment they wake up. Some victims also display severe burns to their face or limbs. These attacks also seem to react to thought. Many believe these attacks come from directed energy weapons, with pulsed microwave frequencies being one of the speculated culprits.
During the first 6 months, when someone becomes openly targeted, they'll use very intense directed energy weapons on them, and it's very debilitating. These weapons are extremely painful when they dial them up. I can't even express how painful it is. For me personally, when I had that, imagine being in a fetal position on the floor screaming. When I say painful, I mean extremely painful.
That headache, it feels like someone's actually hit you on the back of the head, and then that travels all around your facial bones. That was excruciating. It went on for 15 hours one day. I'm not joking. It was unbearable.
I find myself being hit by DEWs, which are direct energy weapons, which are painful. And I have those inside my home. I have them outside my home in my car.
One night, it was like a red hot poker going into each ear, both at the one. And it was. I thought I was going to die. I didn't know what was happening.
I get harassed with direct energy weapons. My attacks are so severe that I get pains everywhere in my body, and I cannot function.
Direct energy weapons to me to wake me up, sometimes feeling the heart racing.
I get attacked in the head, the eyes, the private area.
This morning I was woken up at 2:30 with an electric shock. I go for 5 days of no sleep sometimes. They forced me over in the shower and broke my wrist. That was like an electric shock that pushes you over. My heart, they attack my head all the time, my eye part.
They typically go for like my breathing and all. An area or a side of my chest is pushing in or just staying still and not expanding with air.
I've been burnt radiologically using directed microwave beams with directed energy weapons several times. I've been to hospital twice with burns.
In addition to these invisible attacks, targeted individuals complain of real-world persecution. This can include a campaign of stalking, harassment, street theater, and break-ins, designed to be very obvious to the target, but seem crazy to anyone they tell. The gang stalking can target the victim every time they leave their house, with what seems like multiple people involved. It often includes some kind of trigger device, multiple people wearing the same color or holding their phone towards the target as though they are filming. With the street theater, people will approach victims in the street to say trigger words about things they have merely thought about, or to cause a scene in a crowded place. Victims can suffer from home break-ins where nothing is taken, but things are damaged, added or moved in a way that makes the victim question themselves. Many victims also report issues with their devices, which may switch on for no reason, or seem to be hacked. This part of the program seems designed to make the victim feel as though everyone outside is a potential enemy combatant, and in turn, make them sound crazy to anyone they talk to.
This is blatant, where people are following you, threatening you, intimidating you.
I notice people were stalking, they will do funny activities around me. I will go out and they will aim the camera and the camera will be following me around.
I'm on year 3 of just being gang stalked on foot. I've been dealing with a lot of the flash mobbing, the gang stalking.
I get followed. I get surveilled all the time.
It started for me with the surveillance. That's what I noticed. I didn't know anything really about this program, but I started with the internet searching. And that's when I started learning about gang stalking.
My targeting started back in November 2023. That's when my gang stalking escalated.
Counterintelligence surveillance techniques. The surveillance breakdown techniques are clearly floating box style surveillance and overt surveillance, where they want people completely aware that they're being watched 24/7, following and tagging and tracing people at all hours of the night, all hours of the day, wherever they go.
I have some information I have to share, and I'm putting my life in danger by doing it. I don't feel good about this. I feel guilty as hell. This is why I'm sharing it. But there's a 3-letter agency. The letters are I, A, and C. I'm sure you can do the math on that. And I'm sure you've heard the term G-stalked or getting followed. I get paid $10,000 a month by that organization to follow people. All I have to do is follow one person a day, make sure they see me, take a video, send it in. I have a tracking app on my phone. I can see at least 100 people a day, and I get to pick who I follow. All I have to do is make sure they see me and send in the video. That's it. Just doing some creepy shit. Share this, like this, send it to your homies. If you called someone crazy for getting G-stalked, sorry, dude, it's real.
You have street theater that are just doing little things on the street to draw your attention.
When I said my prayers, I was saying certain things. And then I'd have a person repeat exactly what I was saying in my prayers that were personal to me. It was inside my head.
So I made an Amazon purchase and I couldn't decide if I wanted the pink or the green one. And I walked by and someone told me to get the green one. And I thought, well, who are you?
I would also find my car constantly vandalized way often than it should have, like maybe once a month.
My glass was scratched deeply, my tables, my wood chairs were gouged, and it's a constant daily thing with daily home enterings in my home.
It'll be things that are meant to make me doubt my reality.
I mean, it really just puts you in a state to where you're just constantly questioning everything, and you really don't look at things the same, and you really can't trust anybody.
It gives you trust issues and you don't trust anybody. You sometimes think that everybody's up against you, but it's not like that.
The main goal of all 3 categories is to make the victim acutely aware that their thoughts are being monitored remotely. The voices react to thoughts, the electronic harassment reacts to thoughts, and the gang stalkers often seem to be waiting for victims at their destination. This leads many victims to believe that they have been implanted or had nanotechnology set upon them without their knowledge and against their will. But some victims believe this is all being done wirelessly. If so, that begs the question, can they already read everybody's mind with this technology? One thing is for sure, this program takes a heavy toll on its victims. The abilities of this weapon may sound like science fiction, but the outcome for victims is far from fiction. Very quickly, their lives become a living hell from which there is no escape. No privacy and no room to think, against a backdrop of physical and psychological torture. Years of their lives are stolen, their close relationships break down, and many end up unemployed and homeless. A significant number take their own lives.
I believe this is a full spectrum attack on my life, the assaults, the mind games, to drive me onto the street, if you will, to ruin you as a person, to make you question your own sanity, because everyone will tell you that this is not happening to you when in fact you know.
During the first year is kind of a critical period for most TIs. Around 14% of our membership has been homeless at some time during the last 12 months. Compare that with the national average. The statistics are dramatic when you look at the effect on people's lives.
I did lose my job. I did have to sell my house. I did have to move in with family because I don't feel safe living alone.
It's just been kind of homelessness since my last employment.
So you're homeless now?
Yeah.
2 years ago, I had a great job. I had a great home, family, and all that. I'm currently homeless now because of the situation.
And this is what they seem to want, is to put you in a position where you're powerless and...
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what they want.
I lost my car, I lost my job, and I lost my house all at once. It put me straight to homelessness. So right now I'm homeless.
In the beginning, it almost destroyed my relationship with my family.
So I told my family members, talked it through with them. They were very uncomfortable with it. I was as well.
Family, it's very hard with family, you know. Some believe and some don't. And friends as well. So that's, you know, you feel very, very low when people don't believe you.
My friends are not talking to me. My family doubt me. Nobody believes me. All they say is that you need help. You need help. Go and get psychiatric help.
The first night I went in, you know, they say, tell me what's going on. And so I told them. He was like, yeah, hallucinating, you know, and that very night they started to medicate me. It's just a foregone conclusion that you go in there and you tell them what's happening to you and you get that diagnosis whether you have a mental illness or not.
Don't tell me to see a doctor. I've done that. I've had a head scan. I've had all the other things. They can't find anything wrong with me, and they just think you're mental. And the police are the same. They're quite nice. They're not rude or anything, but you can see what they're thinking.
My doctor, who I've been to for 20 years, knew that I was not mentally ill. If you're over 40, you're not just going to become schizophrenic right away. And she knew me all those years, so I'm very fortunate.
Patients came to my office talking about, Dr. Priester, I started to feel with no reason skin burns, especially in the face, arms. They were saying that they were hearing voices. Yes, I started at that time to realize something's going on that I don't know to treat as a physician. So we have to figure out what is going on.
We're not the ones with the problem, it's the people targeting us because they believe that they have some kind of godlike authority to control someone's life.
It just messes up your entire life. My entire life is like I can't have a life, you know. And it's been going on since 20 years. Hasn't stopped. No break.
No day off.
No day off. They don't take a day off.
I've had this now for 12 years, and it's all pretty much the same as when it started. I've really never had a break. The day that it started, it never quit.
It's destroyed my life. It's difficult to find joy. Until you've been in this position, you really don't understand what it is and how it destroys your life in every way possible.
It was only through the grace of God that helped me not, take my own life.
But it took me many, many years. It's 7 years of harassment, electronic harassment. It took me 5 years to find out what was happening. You get the knowledge is the most important. Getting the knowledge and learning about the technology and the torture technique they use.
I mean, I called MI6 or something. I mean, crazy, but they just said, they weren't nasty. They just said, try and get some proof if you can. And it is hard. You can't see it. You can feel it. My God, you can feel it.
During the first year is a period that, unfortunately, we see many of the suicides.
We live in a very dark place. They want you to be miserable. They want you to feel hopeless. They want you to feel sad. And they want you to commit suicide. If you commit suicide, you let them win.
Just a summary, what's it done to your life?
Destroyed it.
It's disturbing to think that there are people that are committing suicide over this.
The media coverage of this program has been condescending and sarcastic. Some publications have even tried to normalize hearing voices. The Wikipedia page on electronic harassment includes phrases like delusions and psychosis. This ridicule is despite some of the symptoms matching those of Havana syndrome, the mystery illness that's also referred to as anomalous health incidents. When Havana syndrome first hit the headlines in 2016, the initial CNN report mentioned victims heard voices.
It's not just a very disturbing high-pitched noise, but there might even be voices or a message, a continual message that people have been victimized by, this sound, there's this kind of messaging coming from it.
Many believe these attacks come from weaponized neurotechnology and directed energy weapons, with pulsed microwave frequencies being one of the speculated culprits of Havana syndrome. The NBC News investigation, Fighting an Invisible Enemy, The Voices of Havana Syndrome, came to the same conclusion.
The committee felt that these acute symptoms were more consistent with a directed radiofrequency energy attack and explored possible related mechanisms. We looked at 4 possible mechanisms, but came up with one that we thought was most plausible, and that was pulsed microwave energy.
The National Academy of Sciences report was really helpful in saying, yes, it's our belief that these are directed energy attacks, that they are real, and that they were perpetrated by somebody, a state that has this kind of technology.
The idea of neuroweapons, non-lethal directed frequencies designed to impact cognition, isn't new. Can microwaves also allow our thoughts to be read, as simply as picking up a cell phone signal? Or is there a covert plan to chip the population underway? Many victims of these weapons believe they have been chipped without their knowledge. And thanks to the Obama administration's Brain Initiative, inserting technology into the brain became easier than ever. In 2022, the U.S. Department of Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, concluded work on its N-Cubed program. N-Cubed sought to create non-surgical nanotechnology capable of entering the body through the mouth, nose, or by injection, and once inside, migrating to the brain where they become sensors and transmitters. It's reported that its capabilities include a form of mind control. In 2009, Hollywood producer Aaron Russo, famous for his film Trading Places, made an extraordinary claim.
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. And I met him and I liked him. And he was a very, very smart man. I used to say to him, you have all the money in the world you need. You have all the power you need. What's the point? What's the end goal? And he said the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society, to have the bankers, the elite people, the bankers and some governor controlling the world.
Curt Weldon, former congressman for Pennsylvania and former vice chair of the Armed Services Committee and House Homeland Security Committee, made no mention of chips when he recently told the Corbett Report that the U.S. and other governments around the world are working on directed energy weapons to control the mind.
The U.S. and other countries are now using directed energy weapons, not just to take apart material things, but to affect the human brain. And the biggest concern I have for the future generations, and they're not aware of this right now, is there is work going on in America and around the world on the use of wave patterns to penetrate the brains of human beings to control their minds, their actions, without their having any ability to stop that from occurring.
An NTD report out of Asia also highlighted recent comments from China's Xinhua, who reported that the Chinese Communist Party are investing heavily in mind control technology, and that there was no need for a subject to be chipped to achieve this.
The CCP hasn't hidden its intention to weaponize mind control. Regime media mouthpiece Xinhua reprinted an article earlier last year speaking highly of the technology's military and wartime value. The article says the purpose of mind control weapons is not the destruction of an enemy's flesh, but of his will. It also says the new technology doesn't require a chip implanted in the human brain. Instead, electromagnetic waves, light, sound waves, smells, among other things, can be used.
Prominent neuroscientist and Georgetown University professor Dr. James Giordano confirmed to us that directed energies are increasingly being harnessed to impact the brain.
If you're looking at things like directable energies, whether it's sonic energy, infrasound, or ultrasound, rapidly pulsed microwaves, well, these things, number one, are directable. Number two, they can be used with relative clandestine, if not covert, capability.
In 2012, various news outlets reported that Russia was working on a mind control zombie gun that would be ready within a decade. Previously, in 2001, President Putin had made it illegal in Russia to employ electromagnetic, infrasound, and other psychotronic weapons. In 1994, it was widely reported that the FBI was considering using a Russian-made mind control machine on the religious sect, the Branch Davidians. And in 2007, Wired reported that the U.S. Department of Homeland Security had hired a Moscow-based mind control lab for use of its software, which can reportedly read the subconscious mind and alter behavior. 8 years after the first reported cases of Havana syndrome, the Counterterrorism, Law Enforcement, and Intelligence Subcommittee hearing on anomalous health incidents examined these weapons in a public setting.
The victims are not just selfless public servants, but their spouses, children, including infants, and even pets. With a high-powered microwave system weapon that may have the ability to weaken, intimidate, or kill an enemy over time and without leaving evidence. 2012 intelligence information indicated that this weapon is designed to bathe a target's living quarters in microwaves, causing numerous physical effects, including a damaged nervous system. I am convinced that the evidence that exists in the classified arena directly contradicts the public conclusions expressed by federal agencies as to the origin, cause, and scope of AHIs.
Former United States Army Lieutenant Colonel Greg Edgreen later spoke to 60 Minutes and said, "The Pentagon shut down many attempts to investigate and had demanded unachievable evidence for a weapon designed to be silent and invisible."
Greg Edgreen, who ran the military investigation, told us he had the Pentagon's support, but the bar for proof was set impossibly high.
I think it was set so high because we did not, as a country,
and a government want to face some very hard truths.
And what are those?
Can we secure America? Are these massive counterintelligence failures? Can we protect American soil and our people on American soil? Are we being attacked? And if we're being attacked, is that an act of war?
These aren't the first high-profile people to speak out. Former head of the FBI in Los Angeles, Ted Gunderson, was one of the first high-profile names to talk about gang stalking. Mike Beck, a former NSA spy, is sure his Parkinson's disease was caused by electronic harassment. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was reported to be hearing voices while in a British prison. Former Raytheon employee Eric Hecker has also recently gone public.
I spent a year at the South Pole Station from November of 2010 to November of 2011. And it was in that experience that I came across what I now know to be directed energy weapons systems operating under the false pretense of scientific experiments. I suffer the symptoms of what are commonly referred to on the Havana Syndrome symptoms list. It's logical and reasonable to consider that, these corporations, there's nothing that prohibits them from having higher technology that they're not putting to market.
Many thousands of people worldwide are suffering from the same set of symptoms. They get ridiculed by the media, ignored by the government, and are having their mental health weaponized against them. There's one organization fighting to change that. Founded in 2017, Targeted Justice is a human rights organization dedicated to ending the weaponization of exotic neurotechnology and what they call a weaponization of government against American citizens. Richard Lighthouse and Ana Toledo are in Washington, D.C. to host their latest targeted action, an ongoing meetup and protest for victims of these weapons. Both victims of these weapons themselves, Ana and Richard, are planning a week of activities in and around the U.S. Capitol to help raise awareness with federal employees and hopefully secure meetings with congressmen.
Targeted Justice has come to Washington, D.C. before. We've had rallies. This year, we've had a much bigger audience, and this has been key to getting the word out and getting more exposure for what's happening. We have a mission statement at Targeted Justice that it's basically three-pronged. Expose these atrocities, educate the public and legislators, and shut down the program.
We're advocating for freedom this weekend in D.C., just representing non-investigative subjects with Targeted Justice and hoping to end this targeting program.
Please, whatever it takes, stop the targeting of innocent individuals in this country. Most people are just patriotic, conservative people that have been targeted.
DHS has a $110 billion budget. And Rand Paul said, well, we asked about some of these contracts and some of these relationships, and they couldn't even say what they were about. Of course, because it's not that they didn't know, it's that they didn't want to tell you because they're illegal, because they are harassment, because they are organized stalking. The people in Congress are the ones that are supposed to be saying, wait a minute, what are you spending all this money on? But there is absolutely no oversight.
Innocent people are being put on the terror screening database watch list, secret categories 3 and 4. These are non-investigative subjects, everybody. That means they're not criminals, they're innocent people. Many people are being microwaved. Little children are being microwaved. People are dying from these directed energy weapon attacks being perpetrated against them. And it's real. And it's happening. And people need to wake up.
I'm excited to be here with Targeted Justice to get this program shut down. It's a vindication for those of us who have been suffering and tortured for too long.
Include civilians in the Havana Act of 2021 because Havana Syndrome doesn't discriminate.
FBI and DOJ, they're very much a part of the program. I honestly believe people at top do not know what's going on at the bottom levels. We've got to tell them what's going on. They don't know. So if the entire organization's not involved, it's the rogue elements that are sworn to secrecy that won't even tell their boss what they're doing.
In a recent hearing, FBI Director Kash Patel stated that no part of the FBI was targeting innocent Americans.
Director, yes or no, is the FBI still spying on parents at school board meetings?
No, sir.
Is the FBI still targeting Catholics?
No, sir.
Is the FBI still spying on President Trump?
I don't believe so.
Is the FBI still censoring Americans?
No, sir.
Is the FBI still targeting Americans for shopping at Cabela's or purchasing Bibles?
Nobody is targeted for their faith.
Is the FBI still targeting Americans who are pro-life?
Nobody is targeting anyone for their beliefs.
So how do people end up on this program?
We're not sure there is a good reason or a valid reason. So it appears some people are just randomly chosen. What's more common is whistleblowers, people that make someone angry who knows that there's a terror screening database and knows how to make a nomination happen.
I used to live in the country in rural Nebraska, and I started noticing some criminal activity taking place out there. Of course, I reported it to the police. They never saw anything, and I kept reporting it. The people who were operating out there figured out that I was the one who was calling. My life went from normal and even boring to really terrifying overnight. I was sleep deprived and I was scared. It took me a long time to figure out what was happening.
I am a whistleblower. It kind of really destroyed my life, really.
My targeting started after being a whistleblower. It was absolutely terrifying. I thought they were going to take my life.
My targeting started after I retweeted something about the British monarchy. Very quickly after that, I was violently attacked in the street by two complete strangers, and I had to have stitches. I went into hospital. When I got back from having the stitches, the moment I closed the door, there was a knock, and it was a charity worker from a well-known British homeless charity. I thought he was going to give me the pitch. Very quickly, he went on to tell me how proud they were of their royal patron. At which point, my brain connected the two events, and I looked up, he looked me dead in the eye, and he said, "Yeah," as if to say, "You've been warned." At that point, he walked off without finishing his pitch. Almost immediately after that, my gang stalking started. I was followed everywhere, people would be filming me, buying groceries, walking my dog. It got too much, so I moved cities, but the stalking followed me there. Not long after that, my electronic harassment started, and that's when the nightmare really began. I think we have a very serious problem in Britain. I think there is an abuse of power going on, and I think people need to be made aware of it, because it can come for anyone.
Targeted Justice believe that individuals are placed on this program via the terrorist screening database, handling Code 3 and 4. This system was established by President George Bush Jr. in 2003. They believe Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act enables some of the activities of this program.
We've identified the treaties that were used, illegal treaties I might add, that were done by the State Department, DHS, and FBI to establish formal ties with foreign governments under secret treaties and make it classified. We identified specifically 8 treaties with 8 different foreign countries. They call it a science and technology agreement, but it's not about science or technology. It's about the name list on the TSDB. And that's what's being transferred to these other governments who agree to keep it secret and who agreed to use the names on that list as though these people were actually convicted criminals of some sort. These people have not committed any crimes. They're average people that walk the street, and they're being attacked with directed energy military weapons. It's concerning that these backdoor and side door treaties are being done. It's essentially null and void.
It feels as if it's almost an extension of, say, like an MK Ultra brainwashing program and a mind control program.
It wouldn't be the first time the U.S. intelligence apparatus has probed the brain sciences.
In the latter part of the 19th century, it was discovered that electrical stimulation applied to discrete points along the Rolandic fissure, the so-called motor area of the brain, would elicit motor movements.
MK Ultra was a clandestine program driven by an audacious and chilling ambition to master the art of mind control. Initiated in 1953, MK Ultra sought to create a real-life Manchurian candidate, a programmable assassin who could be triggered to act without conscious awareness, a perfect weapon in the escalating Cold War with the Soviet Union. Declassified documents reveal a sprawling operation, with experiments conducted in universities, hospitals, and secret facilities across the United States and Canada, all shrouded in secrecy to evade public scrutiny and moral accountability. Some of the experiments remain classified to this day, and files were famously destroyed by CIA Director Richard Helms and the head of MK Ultra, Sidney Gottlieb.
I absolutely believe that there are connections to this type of nefarious activity with things like MK Ultra. It's certainly been a part of my experience and stuff that I'm trying to, again, decipher.
It goes on and on and on with different types of experiments that they're trying on different people to see what causes the most trauma.
At the heart of MK Ultra's most harrowing experiments stood Dr. Ewan Cameron, a renowned Scottish psychiatrist whose work at McGill University's Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal became a cornerstone of the CIA's mind control pursuits.
He was a covert operative for the CIA and conducted some horrific experiments on his patients.
Funded covertly by the agency, Cameron developed a technique called psychic driving, a method aimed at erasing and reprogramming the human mind.
This type of horrific experiment would be followed up by what Dr. Cameron called psychic driving. What that really is a repetitive message.
Between 1948 and 1964, Dr. Ewan Cameron conducted mind control experiments on his patients at the Allen Memorial Institute. They were financed by the CIA and the federal government. At the time, the medical team used drugs and repeated messages to alter the brains of their guinea pigs. Messages like, "You're lovable" or "You're selfish" could be repeated up to 500,000 times, according to the court's decision. They also used electroshocks as what's known as a de-patterning treatment.
Cameron subjected patients, many seeking treatment for minor issues like anxiety or depression, to extreme regimens of sensory overload and psychological manipulation. His experiments involved administering electroconvulsive therapy, often while patients were strapped into beds, subjected to endless loops of recorded messages designed to overwrite their thoughts and identities. The electroshock treatment was designed to push the victims into a chaotic state, with Cameron writing that disorganization accumulates with ECT, that is, the more one is shocked, the more disorganized one becomes. One woman said she had no recollection of 26 years of her life after receiving Cameron's questionable electroshock treatment. The tapes, played for hours or even days, were intended to implant new behaviors or beliefs, aligning with MK Ultra's goal of creating a programmable human, akin to a Manchurian candidate.
Dr. Cameron once bragged that he could turn anyone into a serial killer through this process.
Cameron's Scottish heritage led many to ask whether Britain too was involved in mind control experimentation. When MK Ultra's secrets unraveled in the 1970s, Cameron's experiments became a stark symbol of the program's reckless disregard for human dignity. Around the same time as MK Ultra, The US Embassy in Moscow was being bombarded with microwaves in an incident that came to be known as the Moscow signal. The Russians weren't the only ones experimenting with directed energy. World-renowned Yale neuroscientist Jose Delgado carried out various frequency experiments on monkeys. He also believed mind control was the next logical step in human evolution.
Recently released CIA documents refer to the feasibility of remote control of animals, and that special investigations will be conducted toward the application of selected elements of these techniques to man.
Elsewhere, American neuroscientist Alan Frey discovered the microwave auditory effect, the ability to beam voices into someone's head wirelessly with microwave pulses. MK-Ultra wasn't the only time mind control hit the headlines in the 70s. The CIA commented that they believed there was an attempt at mind control on a member of President Nixon's inner circle. Many believe MK-Ultra never ended and continued under a new name, in what we would refer to today as an unacknowledged special access program. But what would be the purpose of such a program? Declassified documents reveal that part of their agenda was to create subjects that would have an uncontrollable impulse to, quote, commit a nuisance. Another document revealed their desire to activate human behavior by remote means. Many would speculate these statements were coded language for mind-controlled killer. The quest for a Manchurian candidate would embody MK-Ultra's most sinister fantasy, a human stripped of free will and transformed into a puppet of the state. In one leaked document, a questionable researcher working for the CIA wrote to them stating that his research had come as far as it could without killing his subjects. Reportedly, the CIA wrote back to ask what it would take for the researcher to continue despite the risks, at which point, the morbidly eager researcher replied they would do the experiments for free. There was even some speculation that MK-Ultra played a part in the assassination of Robert Kennedy. At the time, the killer, Sirhan Sirhan, said he had no recollection of the incident and asked to be taken back to the scene of the murder to jog his memory. There has also been a lot of speculation that Charles Manson was part of the MK-Ultra program, given that Manson reportedly met with his parole officer in the very building where MK-Ultra's lead psychiatrist experimented.
Manson was really into mind control.
Well, you're suggesting Manson was a puppet.
I'm suggesting that's a possibility, yeah. He was being used by the state. And then you have that whole COINTELPRO chaos, MK-Ultra angle to it.
Could mind control, and in particular wireless frequencies, be used to create a puppet-like killer? What could drive your everyday person to kill? Potentially a voice inside your head posing as God. We know, after all, that weapons that can beam voices into the mind wirelessly exist and are unironically called voice of God weapons. Wired has published several articles on voice-to-skull technology, also reporting the U.S. Army pulled down the site detailing the capabilities of these weapons. There have been many mass murders where the perpetrators have said they heard voices. Of course, these killers are written off as schizophrenic, but what if there's more to it? In 2003, in a small Texas town, Deanna Laney, a deeply religious mother, tragically took the lives of 2 of her young sons and gravely injured another, believing she was following the voice of God. In Canada in 2008, Will Baker, a man tormented by insistent voices in his head that he believed were divine commands, tragically ended the life of a fellow bus passenger in a brutal attack. Baker later claimed that his voices had told him he was the third chapter of the Bible, and he was to guard Earth against an alien attack. In the secure confines of the Washington Navy Yard in southeast Washington, D.C., troubled IT contractor Aaron Alexis, tormented by insidious voices he believed were emanating from extremely low-frequency government mind control devices, tragically ended the lives of 12 innocent civilians and wounded 3 others in a chaotic rampage before being fatally shot by responding police.
The Navy Yard shooting, the warning signs were there. ABC News has learned that shooter Aaron Alexis was kicked out of Navy housing just weeks before his rampage because he was raving about voices in his head.
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News Aaron Alexis abruptly left a Newport, Rhode Island Navy barracks after constantly complaining that noises were coming out of his linen closet. During roughly the same time frame, Newport Naval Station police were warned by local authorities that Alexis was hearing voices and feared he was under constant surveillance by shadowy figures.
As disclosed by the FBI at the time, Alexis had engraved my ELF weapon on his gun, and they had retrieved writings where Alexis said an ultra-low frequency attack is what I have been subjected to for the past 3 months. And to be honest, it is what's driven me to this. In the town of Colchester in England, troubled teenager James Fairweather, haunted by commanding voices, tragically ended the lives of 2 vulnerable strangers in brutal stabbings in March and June 2014. He told police his voices were demanding a human sacrifice and were laughing as he was carrying out the 2 murders.
And I saw him. It was laying on the grass. Like that. It was like just fast asleep. Was where he was drunk. Went up to him. Stood over like that. Like that. So I stabbed him first there. And I've done it a few times. While I was doing that, my voices were laughing and laughing and laughing louder and louder. So my voices were talking to me. You need to make a sacrifice, or we're going to come and get you. You need to do it.
In January 2017, at an airport in Florida, troubled Iraq War veteran Esteban Santiago, tormented by relentless voices in his head urging him to commit acts of violence, tragically ended the lives of 5 innocent travelers and wounded 6 others in a sudden rampage. Santiago had visited the local FBI to report that his mind was being controlled by a U.S. intelligence agency and that the CIA had been making him watch ISIS videos, presumably in his head. In Maine in 2023, troubled Army reservist Robert Card, tormented by relentless voices mocking and ridiculing him, tragically ended the lives of 18 innocent people and wounded 13 others in devastating attacks on a bowling alley and a bar, before taking his own life 2 days later.
Federal police are still on a manhunt for the man accused of shooting and killing 18 people at a Maine bowling alley and bar on Wednesday night. A sister-in-law to the suspect, 40-year-old Robert Card, confirmed to the Wall Street Journal that he received 2 weeks of inpatient psychiatric treatment over this past summer as he was hearing voices. She said he started believing he could hear people say awful things about him.
More recently, 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr. murdered Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska on a subway in North Carolina. While there are no mentions of him hearing voices, he spoke to his sister after the murder, where he claimed the government had put materials in his body.
So you said something in your body did what?
The material, the material used in my body to stab the lady.
While there's no way to prove any of these murders were the result of V2K or psychotronic neuroweapons, for targeted individuals, the details of each case are striking. There are, however, 2 incidents where the shooters have been self-identified targeted individuals. In 2014, in Tallahassee, Florida, troubled attorney Myron May, tormented by voices convincing him he was under constant government surveillance, tragically wounded 3 innocent students in a sudden shooting spree before being fatally shot by responding police. Before the shooting, May emailed videos and letters to contacts outlining his belief in being a targeted individual.
It's with a heavy heart that I am in front of you now, kind of my last words. You see, I am a victim of covert harassment and electronic harassment and gang stalking. I'm what's called a targeted individual. As sick as this may sound, I've even had stalkers follow me into church. I would hear voices in my apartment explaining what it was that I was doing. If I went to the kitchen, they'd say stuff, oh, he's headed to the kitchen now. Or if I went to the bathroom, they'd, oh, he's headed to the bathroom. We are subjected to torture daily. Father, I ask that you forgive me my sins, all my past sins, all my present sins, and all my future sins.
Less than a week before the shooting, May asked on Facebook, "Has anyone ever been encouraged by your handler to kill with a promise of freedom?" In August 2022, in the Ohio suburbs, Stephen Marlowe, tormented by merciless voices in his head, tragically ended the lives of 4 innocent people in a devastating shooting spree, before fleeing and publishing a pre-recorded video on social media, explaining his motives as being a counterattack against mind control.
We have been attacked by this weapon our entire lives, and the attack against me personally is one of the most vicious attacks a human being has ever faced. I have tolerated the most inhumane torture in hopes that the FBI and CIA would come to my defense, but they have failed to come to my aid. My only hope is that you come to understand what has happened here. When the world realizes what has happened, there will be justice, but I cannot sit by and be a victim any longer, and I refuse to sit by and do nothing while my nieces and nephews and the rest of my family are operated on with mind control. Our thoughts are not private. It is disgusting and it is cruel. I will be launching the first counterattack against mind control in human history. I want to be very clear, this will not be an active shooting event. I will be executing some of the people responsible for activating shooters. If I can help another targeted individual fight back against telepathy, then the sacrifice will be well worth it. The most horrific weapon ever made is being used on human beings, and if you ever learn the truth, you will understand what I did here to protect myself and my family. Get this out to other TIs, other voice hearers, so the world has a chance to fight back. To my family, especially my nieces and nephews, I want you to understand that what I do here, I do for your future, and hope that you can live a life free of mind control.
If the subject doesn't know they're under attack, a weapon that wirelessly projects voices directly into their mind could be influential, especially if the voice is posing as God or promising freedom in exchange for a human sacrifice. Are wireless frequencies and directed energy weapons being used to drive people to commit acts of violence? And if so, to what end?
Repetitive messaging through people who are highly suggestible, is a CIA term, can be converted into mass murders or mass shooters. It is my personal opinion that the CIA is still doing this.
People say mind control. Like, I don't imagine that somebody can shoot a beam into your head right now and make you do something specifically. I think of it more as manipulations, and some people are more susceptible to those manipulations than others.
Somebody asked me, why would the CIA or whoever's doing it, why would they want to carry out shootings? And the answer is very simple. They want to disarm the population.
I'm completely convinced that they are actually Manchurian candidate type programmed individuals who are targeted and then programmed to carry out false flag operations to frighten society, frighten the public, and create public concern so that on the back of that public concern, they can bring in tighter regulations and rules curtailing human rights and your freedoms.
Many targeted individuals testify to a manipulative nature to the torture they endure. One thing's for sure. This program is designed to drive people to the brink, where they'll do anything to make it stop, potentially even kill. Murder isn't the only dark side to the targeting phenomenon. For many targeted individuals, especially the women, there seems to be a sexual component to this program. Haptic feedback, vibrations and pain delivered to their most intimate areas in a way that seems to want to humiliate them. Some TIs report seductive or taunting voices in their head at the same time as sexual assaults are taking place. A Washington Post article about the issue states, others report the attacks in the form of sexual stimulation, including one TI who claims he dropped out of the seminary after constant sexual stimulation by directed energy weapons.
There seems to be a predatory element.
There are some other things that have happened to me in terms of being a woman that I won't mention here, but there are attacks and assaults in a very intimate way and place.
Sexual aspect, electronic rape. It's just somebody is touching you. Somebody is touching you and doing sexual acts, but there's nobody there. If I look at somebody like a man or something, then they'll start touching me.
Just over the last year, it's gotten really much darker with sexual assaults, and then not being able to find the perpetrator or the people assaulting me. It hurts, and I'm a human being.
Yeah, you're talking about like the electromagnetic, the rape and that. Yeah, that's, oh my God, that was kind of on the onset that I became aware of that. It was like I could feel it in my backside and my front side. And in the very beginning, it was, they wanted me to know. It was like I could feel this vibrating, just powerlessness, sheer powerlessness over somebody. Even though they're not putting their hand, they're putting the weapon on you, and there's nothing you can do. And that's an awful feeling.
It's usually combined with a very cruel microwave auditory effect, voices in their heads telling her, we're not raping you, we're just stimulating you. And that has got to be the most disgusting, wicked, evil, satanic thing I have ever heard.
Worryingly, a growing number of people are contacting TI support organizations to report that their children seem to be displaying signs of these weapons. Often, the parents are victims themselves, making the torture a generational thing.
A significant number of members, many single mothers and small children, minor children as young as 3 years old, are being targeted and harassed, particularly with voice-to-skull V2K. The sickness that someone would torture a small child is beyond belief. We have confirmed that these kids are in fact receiving directed energy weapons and voice-to-skull. It's a very disturbing development for us. With children, they'll use their mother's voice. The parent has to tell the child, watch my lips. If you didn't see me say it to you, that wasn't me.
The youngest we have record of is as young as 3 years old. What they do is that they beam voices at these children's, and they say things to them. For example, one of them would say, they're gonna eat my stomach. They're telling me that they're gonna eat my stomach. Another mother tells me that her 5-year-old tells her she never has a quiet moment in her head. Like, imagine a child 24/7 having these voices going on. Not to mention the damage to their developing brains, because this is perpetrated with microwave beams that are being directed at young minds.
So, what evidence is there that these weapons are at use in the cases of TIs? And who could be running a program so unethical, and that breaks every human rights treaty in existence? A 2018 Freedom of Information Act request by a muckrock journalist sent to the Washington State Fusion Center yielded an unexpected cache of documents on Antifa, the so-called anti-fascist movement that was recently declared a terrorist organization. The leak included several pages on psychoelectric weapons, detailing electromagnetic assaults capable of remote mind control, voices, induced pain, and even forced memory blanking. When asked about the documents, the Fusion Center went silent. There have been attempts to legislate against the use of neuroweapons in the United States. In 2001, Democrat and former presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich tabled an amendment to the Space Preservation Act bill to include bans on psychotronic, electromagnetic, and ultra-low frequency weapons. His amendments were removed prior to the bill's passing, after Kucinich was ridiculed in the media. Also in 2001, former chief scientist at NASA's Langley Research Center, Dennis Bushnell, tagged microwave attacks on the brain as part of a future warfare presentation to the National Defense Industrial Association about future strategic issues. In the presentation, he stated that work is exceedingly sensitive and unlikely to be reported in any unclassified documents. Does that mean that these projects are out of the purview of the President of the United States? Targeted Justice has repeatedly claimed that the TI program falls under a top-secret clearance named Ultra, as in MK Ultra, just below top-level clearance Majestic, above the security clearance of the U.S. President and Congressional Intelligence Committees, making them a violation of the U.S. Constitution. This security clearance system was allegedly set up by Vice President Nelson Rockefeller in the 1970s. One of the first people to make headlines about the targeting program is Harlan Gerard. His experience as a victim of these weapons was featured in a TV documentary and a lengthy article in the Washington Post.
We're aware of the use of the Vercator weapons, which we've identified as being particularly painful. This is U.S. patent number 4345220. So they had a global system via satellites that was partially operational by 1984. We know that because there's a gentleman named Harlan Gerard that described in detail and proved it with documents that were filed in lawsuits a few years later.
Gerard says he's been targeted by the government since the 1980s, ever since he spoke against George H.W. Bush.
Well, that's why they told me they'd come into my life.
Gerard's investigation took him to Washington. He found documents proving that government researchers experimented with mind control. And their tools included microwaves.
It's someone using a process called synthetic telepathy, which has been patented by the Air Force.
The Air Force Research Laboratory did get a patent. A patent for using microwaves to send words into people's heads.
Police reports, FBI reports, that they were in fact experiencing satellite attacks in 1984 and 1985. Keep in mind, this was before there was cell tower networks, before there were cell phones. They were amazed that they could be tracked on the ground so precisely and attacked on the top of their head 24 hours a day.
Many victims of this program try to find ways to shield themselves from attacks, especially at night. It's a painstaking and often expensive pursuit that sees them having to purchase Faraday or metal-lined items, which often have little to no impact.
You have to put on your armor, not just the armor of God to face the world every day, but for sleeping, since you are stagnant for so long, that's when you really need to protect yourself, protect your heart, protect your head. With all these contraptions, you pretty much have to wear an armor. It is exhausting.
I don't have a lot of money, but I would try things like Kevlar, like the shielding that you would use for EMF. Nothing I've gotten has provided 100% protection, but it did provide some. I would just kind of sleep with the pillow between my legs, maybe the shielding over me as well, head protection with the EMF.
I cover my legs with a kind of metal dustbin, really, to help me. I must look like a nutcase at night, but lucky enough nobody sees me. I try all sorts of tactics to stop it, and that's how I can try to lead a normal life.
Paolo Fiora lives in Britain. He has organized a protest for targeted individuals outside 10 Downing Street in London, home of the British Prime Minister.
I've been trying to organize the people getting together today. You know, I've been targeted for a very long time. I started getting targeted in Italy, where I was born in Italy.
Robert Gogerly says he sent a report of what was happening to him to the British Prime Minister's office. And almost immediately a police officer contacted his doctor to inquire about his mental health.
I decided I'll create my own report, which is here. I decided to then send it to our Prime Minister here at number 10 and to the Houses of Parliament, to all the ministers. The police then contacted my doctor, inquiring from my doctor, have I got a mental health condition? I have direct evidence the police actively removed these reports from being brought to the attention of our elected Prime Minister and our elected members of Parliament who forms the cabinet.
The British, researching into the use of microwave weapons, and in the 80s mass producing these microwave weapons, which are used by British intelligence now on members of the general public. Microwave technology is perfect because with the use of microwave technology, the Russians and later the Americans found that at a flick of a switch, you can control behavior. You can make someone manic, you can make them suicidal, you can make them obsessive, you can make them compliant and submissive, all at the flick of the switch.
It's alleged that Marconi Electronics Systems were producing microwave weapons in Britain in the 1980s. And that may explain why 25 of their scientists died in mysterious circumstances in what became known as the Marconi murders. Interestingly, of course, Marconi were involved in the Strategic Defense Initiative, which is the so-called Star Wars project. So yeah, I think it's definitely possible that Britain were manufacturing these weapons and testing them on their own population in the 1980s and through to the current day. That's certainly my experience.
The British government recently posted an ad hiring for directed energy weapons communications role. Over in Brussels, another organization representing targeted individuals is ICADER, led by Melanie Vrichen. Melanie is taking the concerns of targeted individuals to the UN and has met with them several times.
Our collaboration with the UN has intensified, and we had various meetings with them. So it's an independent body of experts that will judge our case. And what we were discussing is how we can make the committee understand that what targeted individuals are living is really a disability. There are certainly people in the UN that consider this as a really grave crime and would like it to get much more attention than it has. I honestly had the impression that it's almost the first time that they heard about these crimes. It is our duty, I think, as citizens, that there is this democratic oversight that is created. It is the state, or these states are responsible, are either unwilling or unable, as it seems, to protect their citizens. Then the state is liable. With victims gathering around the globe, uniting their forces to educate the public, and to raise awareness for this very, very grave problem. I believe it's one of the most serious crimes that has happened since World War II. Rest assured that we will do anything that is in our power to stop these programs, and we will succeed.
In Canada, Galina Cardina has been organizing protests and pushing for awareness at the Canadian Parliament.
I have run an organization of victims of psychotronic weapons since 2009. I met a leader of the Liberal Party in Canada, Mr. Michael Ignatieff. We submitted a petition against misuse of psychotronic mind control weapons to Member of Parliament, Mr. John McKay. On the 23rd of November 2011, the petition was tabled in the House of Commons in Ottawa. Its number was 411-0188. More than 1,000 signatures for the petition were collected by our Organization of Victims of Psychotronic Mind Control Weapons in Canada. The answer of the Canadian government was, the Canadian government takes note of the petitioner's concerns. However, the government has no information on any such activities.
Back in Washington, D.C., Richard and Anna have gathered the largest targeted individual rally on record, with attendees coming from across America to stand up for their rights. Anna and some of the rally attendees have managed to secure a meeting with a representative of U.S. Senator Jerry Moran. The meeting goes well, but the senator's representative says little. Anna and one of the rally's attendees have managed to secure a second meeting, this time with a representative of Senator Ron Johnson's office. When the meeting starts, Anna doesn't hold back.
This is a travesty happening in America. It's a Stasi state and it needs to stop. This is about doing what's right. Let's investigate if there are civilian victims of Havana syndrome in the United States. As you know, President Trump on January 20th, among the dozens of executive orders he signed one very important one, which is against government weaponization. Why did the FBI create InfraGard? So that they are exempt from FOIA. Why doesn't he bring witnesses to testify that are victims of government weaponization, such as myself and normal Americans that have no ties to terrorism, to testify and say how our lives have been obliterated by these criminals?
The meeting ends without any next steps.
I'm gonna bite my tongue.
We're in Washington, D.C. We just had a meeting with Legislative Council with Senator Ron Johnson's office. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make the meeting, so we met with his representative. We discussed all the topics of targeted justice. Unfortunately, I don't know whether or not she took us serious, whether or not she's going to give that information to Senator Ron Johnson. We're here to document that we did give her all of the information she needed.
It is so frustrating that as an American citizen with genuine concerns and complaints for redress, they will not open the doors for you.
The voices of targeted individuals are getting louder and more credible. Our elected representatives can't ignore them for much longer. This program is designed to subjugate and control, and it can target anyone, anywhere, anytime. Its tactics are sinister. Its motives are unknown. How many people have been through the mental health system or committed suicide due to this program? Can anyone be turned into a killer with enough torment? Can the world's governments or secret societies now deploy sophisticated militia-like tactics and military-grade neuroweapons to ruin someone's life in the most hideous, cowardly, and satanic way? And the most important question of all, could this become a global mind control program?
I know it sounds fantastical and maybe beyond belief, and it's probably scary to even think about, but the truth is, this is real, this is reality. You or someone you love and care for can be a victim of this.
Once I realized how big this thing is, I couldn't look away anymore. I had to do something.
These folks are criminals. Every single one of them need to be in jail. And I'm so disappointed in our government.
This is probably one of the most threatening things that can ever happen to a man, because you don't have privacy of thought. And if they can manipulate your thought, they can manipulate your speech.
You think it's normal people have access to your
thoughts, have access to your life, follow you and torture you.
This is the technology that can be easily used to control and manipulate and monitor the population.
This is a torture program. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. No one deserves this. No one.
I'm an old lady. I'm in my 70s. You know, what on earth could they got to gain from someone like me? You know, it's not really hurt anybody at all, done anything wrong.
You realize the potential to control the masses without their knowledge, radiologically, remotely, and you are making full use of it. Now, that's not democracy, and it is moving towards a silent dictatorship.
I mean, right now we're the guinea pigs, right? But they're not going to stop there. They have a plan in place. They're using this for something big.
These people, there's 278,000 people on the unacknowledged terrorist database, category 3 and 4, which even the president does not have access to.
I believe there's a high probability that the technologies are not controlled by the governments of any nation. So yes, I believe it's possible that this stuff is above the president and he does not have access to it.
I think more and more people will experience it. People will believe that they have psychosis.
There's only so many people you can dismiss as delusional and crazy. It's a weaponization of the government. I don't think they're going to get away with it because it's such a violation of human rights.
They are psychopaths. They have no empathy, no compassion, no feelings.
I think we have to operate now on the assumption that they can read our thoughts, everybody's. Our existing wireless communications infrastructure runs on microwave. Your cell phone runs on microwave. If they have discovered a way to pick up brain signals on the microwave network, that is a serious breach of the social contract between governments and their citizens. The first thing they've done with this technology is use it to oppress people, which raises serious questions over who's in charge and what their intentions are for regular people.
Despite the growing voices of victims, court cases fighting this torture program have fallen flat. Attorney Ana Toledo has been following the legal battles closely.
There have been over 500 lawsuits that have been thrown out. Some are about the voice to call. Some are about the gang stalking. Since most of these lawsuits have been pro se, so without an attorney, they get called by the court delusional, fantastical, crazy talk. They get dismissed. The commonality of these lawsuits should have raised eyebrows in many courts.
There's no language or protections against wireless neurological attack. So you've got so many places in the world, such as Chile, that are building these laws into their constitution.
We asked victims what they would say to their cowardly torturers if they ever met them face to face.
If I was to say something to the people who had targeted me, I would say that I'm not your slave.
I don't think there's anything we can honestly say to them because they are absolutely insane to think this and do what they are doing to innocent people, not only senior citizens, but children.
It's a slow, painful death. The ultimate goal is to destroy the person.
This is wickedness and this is evil, and it has to stop. This has to stop.
How can you live with yourself? How do you sleep at night? I don't understand how you can do it. I really don't. But I'm going to still hold on to my humanness till I take my last breath.
If I had a chance to confront them, and I don't know that I would say anything because I feel like that's what they want. They want a reaction from me, and I just don't even want to give them one. There was a time where I wanted to yell and scream at them and cuss them out, but I wouldn't even give them the time of day, honestly.
I would say you're going to be stopped. They know about you. I know we have these capabilities, but to use them against our citizens is treason, and it won't be tolerated.
I hope you can find God. I don't know
what provoked you to do this kind of thing to other human beings. I hope you live a very long life knowing just exactly what kind of stain you put on your soul.
You could sit in front of the people who are doing this to you. What would you say to them?
I'll see you in court.
Have a conscience. Have a conscience. Enough is enough.
As a Catholic, what do you think the consequences are for their soul?
Well, I'll leave that up to Jesus, who sits at the right hand of our Father. And I can't talk for them, but I don't think their outcome is good.
Study up on it. Look at the evidence. Look at the witnesses, the testimonies of how damaging it is psychologically and physically to a person.
Once you understand it and do the research, you can rise above it. I believe prayers helped a lot.
It's like I'm being attacked right now as we speak, you know, and but you tend to get used to it in a dysfunctional way. Just trying to help fight this thing, you know.
It's truly a sick and evil program, and what they do to people needs to be known. I know that there are people who've been so destroyed physically and mentally by this program, they can't fight for themselves.
We don't know from where it's coming exactly, but the only way that we can support these people is to understand that they are not crazy. They need support.
Repent while you still have time.
Despite the dark shadow that looms over them and the lack of help from elected representatives, many targets are hopeful that the tide is beginning to turn.
Why is fighting this so important, so close to your heart?
Because I cannot conceive myself of being a slave to this program. You know, I'd rather die. I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. You know, I'm not going to stop this fight. Nobody could make this up. Nobody can go around claiming to be a victim of this if it wasn't true, because it's so horrific. No court of law would give a warrant to any agent to go into the brain of somebody and know what they're thinking. You cannot so much as pray to God, have an intimate conversation with God without these criminals listening into it. That's the ultimate violation of the most sacrosanct thing you can have, and you don't even have that anymore.
For their final stop of the week, Anna and Targeted Justice are headed to the White House to stage a flash protest in front of the iconic lawn.
Electronic harassment is perpetrated through the use of directed energy weapons. Voice to Skull, which is a patented technology which beams voices to the heads of people, subliminal messaging on the population to weaponize mental health and tell people that they're going crazy, but they're not. They denounced a crime. They denounced a drug operation in their building, and all of a sudden they got the voices. Why? Because the FBI placed them on this horrific list to condemn them to a life of second-class citizenship.
Does the President of the United States and other world leaders know that mind-reading and influencing technology exists? Could it be being used on them? And who has majestic level clearance that supersedes the President? If China can disclose these technologies, why can't we? If Russia can make the use of these weapons illegal, why can't we? There's a demon at the gates. This technology has the potential to be used on both mass populations and individuals. And if indeed these attacks are coming from our existing communications infrastructure, as many believe is the case, then we find ourselves already caught in the mousetrap. The question is, who's at the controls?
As much as they have so much influence and access to doing bad things to us, ultimately the control is within us. I believe that with Tulsi Gabbard and the current administration, this is going to get exposed. Nobody's going to be made whole because the scars are too deep.
It's torture on an incredible level. This technology that includes subliminal messaging can be used as a global mind control network. It's very real. It's happening right now. It's already being used on the American and European populations. It has the potential to be the greatest threat to mankind ever, because once you get this submissive compliance, it's very easy to accomplish some type of power takeover.
This isn't okay. We're not free. I'm a veteran. This isn't the country that we fought for. This isn't the freedom. You know, when does this program end? Who's going to step in? Who's going to do something?